Hey, this is Israel Juarbe from the Karate Kid. Yes, a.k.a. Freddy Fernandez. You're listening to Cobra Kai Kompanion, the best show. Hey, what was that, karate?
Welcome to another episode of Cobra Kai Kompanion, and I am Peter, also host of Podstalgic. And for today's episode, we have another interview. This one was a very special one because it is a character from the original Karate Kid movie. Today, I speak with Israel Juarbe, who played Freddy Fernandez from the first movie. And he talks about his extensive acting career and his relationships with Ralph Macchio, Billy Zabka, and Luis Guzman, who's his best friend. He also shares a product that he invented called Strawgy, and also talks a little bit about Freddy's Making Bacon t-shirts. And this is our conversation.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Izzy, how you doing?
Good. Is Peter?
Yeah, it's Peter. Did I catch you at a bad time?
No, that's good. We can do this now. Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Well, first off, I want to thank you for, giving me the opportunity to speak with you. You're, definitely in a character in one of my favorite movies of all time, the Karate Kid.
Right on.
Now, are you originally from New York?
I'm originally from the Lower East Side of Manhattan, New York City. Yes, I grew up down here, and I left to Los Angeles when I was 18 after I did my first movie, which was a movie for ABC in 1981, man. 1981.
Wow.
Did my first movie. I had the lead role with Paul Winfield, Trini Alvarado, Ike Eisenman, and James Broderick, Matthew Broderick's dad. And it was a 2-hour movie, and it was like a big movie on graffiti, and I played the Kirk, who was, the bad guy, of course, right? Back then, Latinos.
Sure.
I played the hooded kid trying to recruit a young lady to sell drugs, and Ike Eisenman, who was in Return from Witch Mountain, the originals. I don't know if you know of Ike Eisenman, but he was the original kid on Disney's Return from Witch Mountain.
I'm familiar with that and its remake.
Yes. So, yeah, when I was 16, I started here in theaters. I met a famous playwright, Puerto Rican playwright, and I started doing some original plays of his. And then got an agent, the same old thing. I was really into it. And then my first movie happened to be Dreams Don't Die, which was an ABC movie of the week. I don't know how old you are, but back then they had 3 channels, ABC, CBS, and NBC. An ABC movie of the week was like the big thing to watch.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, the movie was called Dreams Don't Die.
Let's see here. I'm just a little older than the Karate Kid movie.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you were a kid when you watched it. How old
I
were
was,
you?
yes. I feel like I probably watched 1 and 2 around the same time, maybe a little bit after 2 was out, I would imagine. But yeah, I was very, very young, but it was definitely one of the movies that we replayed over and over in the household.
That movie came out in a time when a VHS started getting really big. VHS had just come out. It went out over beta. And so all these video stores were popping up everywhere. And so the Karate Kid was one of the first, feature films that were like duped onto a, VHS tape for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I believe around that time, actors were, protesting the union was to get paid residuals for every sale of these VHS tapes. And so for us, the cast, it was great because the movie was such a big hit. And the VHS tapes were selling like crazy. And so our residual checks were nice. As a matter of fact, I went to the bank and I was going to withdraw some money. And I saw this huge amount on the bank statement. And I was like, oh, man, did they make a mistake? What is this? So like I was hesitant to tell her, right? I was like, oh man, I can pay all my bills right now. Everything is good. But then I had to ask, and I said, what's this check? I mean, why do I have so much money in my account? He said, well, that was a residual check after she checked out from the Karate Kid. And I said, oh my God. And then we started calling each other. I called one of my pals in the movie to date is Frankie Avalon Jr.
Oh, wow.
Frankie Avalon Jr. played one of Freddy's friends. As a matter of fact, Frankie Avalon Jr. is my partner in the business.
Oh, okay.
The Strawgy business, the clip that I show you for straws.
Yes, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
Yes. So we were excited about that. I got in touch with Frank. He said, "Did you think it was a mistake like I did? I was here at the bank." He goes, "Yeah, man." I was like, "I'm flipping out. I'm gonna buy a car." So that was 1984, 85.
It was, yeah, 84 for the Karate Kid. Now, before that, I'm very interested in this because you were on you made an appearance on a show that I'm familiar with, but I've never seen. But Cagney and Lacey, who Martin Kove was also, he was a character on that show. Did you get to work with him at all in any capacity?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen the episode in a long time, but I know he crossed paths while I was being arrested, because at that time there were very few roles for Latinos, right?
That's right.
So
That's
me
right.
and my friends that had gone out there from New York City, a lot of Puerto Rican actors, there were a few of us, and we all grew up together in the theater here in New York, and we all trekked out to Los Angeles. And we started getting roles. We were competing against each other, getting these roles. At that time there was Cagney and Lacey, Hill Street Blues, and Trapper John, all these '80s shows. I did about 40 of these '80s television episodic shows. And at that time, when we were competing, one week somebody would get the role, and then I would get the role sometimes. But I came to LA at about the same time. My friend Isai Morales, my friend Ramon Franco, we were kind of like the pioneers, Latino pioneers, to get work consistently at that time in the '80s when there was very few work, when there was
Right.
very few jobs for us and roles. That was then. That was the politics at that time, and we dealt with it. We weren't always happy. But, it was work, and we were excited. We were in Hollywood. We were making movies. So getting back to Cagney and Lacey, I had booked that gig, and I did that with my friend Rafael Ferrer. His brother just passed away, but he's the son of Jose Ferrer, the great actor. And his aunt was Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's cousin.
Okay.
Right? So we all knew each other at that time. I knew George. I actually guest starred with George on a sitcom called ER, before ER. This was a comedy called ER.
Interesting.
It was a sitcom.
Okay.
Yeah, with Elliot Gould was the doctor in the ER show.
Right. The father from Friends.
Elliot Gould?
Yeah. Wasn't he?
I don't know. I don't know if he played a character in Friends, but Elliot Gould used to be married to Barbara Streisand. They have a kid together. He was a big '60s, '70s
He was
actor.
in Ocean's 11, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. He played David Schwimmer's father on Friends, I believe.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guest starred on it, and that's why I met George. We had a funny bit together, and also another friend of mine who worked as George's friend, Tony Longo. Tony Longo was on that show too, and it was us three. And so, in the '80s, I did a lot of work with a lot of these actors that are now huge actors, right? And I'm kind of proud of that. And I did a lot of work in my time as an actor, and I happened to work with a lot of really, really cool people. Tony Longo, he just passed away. He was great guy, big guy, man, 6'8", man. He used to play for the Jets, and he did a lot of movies in the '80s, '90s, 2000s. He just passed away like 4 years ago. But Tony Longo, we worked at that time in the early '80s, and then we worked again on Angels in the Outfield. I co-starred in that.
Love that movie.
And I played the second baseman, Jose Martinez, in that movie. That was in 1993. I was a little older at that time, 33, and we shot that in Oakland Coliseum. And it's great because God, Matthew McConaughey's in that movie, Adrian Brody, and so I got to know them, hang out with them a lot. I still keep in touch with Matthew and and Adrian. Adrian got me a job editing because I was editing now. I've been editing for about 25 years, but
oh wow,
I used to edit the Orlando Jones show. So I got out of acting in 1999 and started working on the Orlando Jones show. And the reason I got that show is because I was doing some work for Adrian Brody. So there you go, man. I got to work with 2 Academy Award guys. They're very fortunate.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's a great actor now.
Yes.
Doing
Yes,
big things.
right. Yeah, Danny Glover, Tony
That's
Danza.
right.
As a matter of fact, I just saw Tony last year at the street festival, the San Gennaro Street Festival, and I hung out with him in his booth. And he has a little cheese shop, one of the oldest cheese stores in Little Italy, New York City.
No kidding.
And during the festival, I saw him working, man. He was working harder than his workers, making sausage sandwiches and Zeppels. And I got online and I said, "Hey, Tony, it's Izzy." And they're like, "What?" We hung out. We hung out. Gave me free sandwiches for me and my girlfriend. It was cool.
You mentioned Isai Morales. Do you still keep in touch with him?
I talk to him all the time, man.
Yeah. He's on How to Get Away with Murder, and he's in one of my personal favorites. I love La Bamba, and his character is just.
Oh yeah.
I love that movie. So that's I'm glad to see that he's still out there doing things as well. He's just a very good actor.
Oh yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah, I keep in touch with him all the time. As a matter of fact, I talked to him last week. But we also had a friend in common, Elizabeth Pena. I did a play with Elizabeth when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I knew Elizabeth. As a matter of fact, when Elizabeth went out to Los Angeles, I am the one that showed her around. I'm the one that hooked her up with an agent, a temporary agent at the time, until she got started, and then she took off. We were really close.
Right, right.
God bless her soul, but
definitely gone too soon.
Yeah, gone too soon. Yeah, so that so like I said, there's a small community of Latin actors that have stuck it out, for at least 20 years. I kind of got out of it. Some others, but still, there are a lot of friends that have stuck, to it, and they're doing well right now, really well.
That's great.
And I'm doing my thing, man. I started editing, and I quit acting when my agent retired. I quit acting in 1999, and I got into editing. I started my own company as an editor, and then I just grew. I had a small editing boutique with 4 employees, and I did well. I did a lot of 5-camera comedy shows. I did a lot of game shows, and I had my own post-production house, and we did graphics, opening titles for a lot of TV shows. And so I stayed with that for many, many, many years. And so that's how as a matter of fact, my last show that I did, I went out with a bang. I did the 2nd season of Pensacola.
Oh yeah.
I played James Brolin's secretary. So it was a comedy relief on that show. So, I was doing well, bought my house, and then I started editing, and then that kind of took over. And the last thing I did was in 2006, Gary Marshall asked me to star in a play at the Falcon Theater. And I did that, and that was the last acting I did in a play. Just because I was, doing other things. But I miss it, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can always go back.
I say that all the time, and that's what's going to happen. But I want to, right now, I'm into this manufacturing of this product that I invented. And so I'm all, I'm going for that. I'm just ready to make sure that this thing grows, and I'm passionate about it. It's my product, and I'm ready to start selling it, It was a long ride, man. 3 years to prepare for this.
Oh, I bet.
From developing the product to and I did my own 3D product, and I did my own CAD files to make the mold for the product. So I mean, literally, this is my product from the concept all the way to the designing on 3D CAD and spitting it out in 3D print and then making molds. So I'm really proud of this, and I'm really excited about it.
Why don't we just go? I was going to save that for the end, but why don't we just go ahead and talk about astrology now?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just rambling, man. I had a long day. I had a long day. Listen, I'm doing my own packages in it right now, right? Because it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm doing all these promotional astrology items to give to some celebrities and stuff, so they could advertise on it. And then I'm running around doing other chores, and so it was a long day. So if I'm rambling, man, I apologize.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I allow people to ramble on because that's where you get most of like the really fun stuff. Okay,
Right.
maybe we'll just still save it for the end. Before we get into talking a little bit about the Karate Kid, there is one more project that I like to ask you about. You were on an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes. Yeah, I got the gig, man, and that was fun because I this was going to be my third time working with Alfonso Ribeiro. I've worked with Alfonso, and I've known Alfonso since he was like 7 years old, from New York City. And we worked on, we did a series pilot called Teachers Only. We also did another pilot. I don't think he was in that part. Listen, you got to forgive me. We're talking 30 plus years, right?
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely.
I worked with him on Silver Spoons, and I did a play with his aunt, and his aunt from way back in 1980. So I knew his whole family and everything. And then I worked on Silver Spoon. Then I got a gig on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I worked with Alfonso again, and, we've known each other forever, right? And so that was a nice reunion. And the other thing is, oh my God, I can't believe I just had a blackout, but the lady who played his mom worked with me on a television series I did for CBS called Foley Square.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and so I did a series with her, so that was a reunion for us, and Vernee Watson-Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, if you put Foley Square cast, I co-starred. I was a regular on that show with Margaret Colin, Hector Elizondo, who's like my mentor, Kathy Silvers, who was Jenny Piccolo on Happy Days, Michael Lembeck, who directed like half of the Friends episodes, and John Lovitz was on the show, and a couple other people that I haven't seen in years, but it was a great cast. But we did 14 episodes, and then it was, canned. I was hoping for 3 years so I could be on syndication.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I did like 6 pilots, man. I did like 6 pilots that didn't go. One Foley Square at least went for 14 episodes, so that was cool.
Yeah.
I was proud of that.
Now, coming from Lower East Side, you moved to LA to find work. How did you come across Karate Kid? Was there a casting call for a specific role for Freddy Fernandez? Or?
No. Let's get into the Karate Kid. My memories are vivid, but there are things that I remember really well. And the auditioning, my agent calls me up, and I was hot. I was working a lot. I was doing a lot of episodic television, and I just come from New York City in 1982. I got there, and I was working, right? I was booking a lot of gigs, and then it was an audition for a movie called The Karate Kid, right? Just a regular audition. And actually, I went to read for the casting director, and I can't tell you her name. I forgot. Bonnie Timmerman? No, it wasn't. I can look it up on the credits, but
yeah, Marty Cove actually mentioned her name once too on his interview.
Right. It must have been somebody out there at that time. You had to, it wasn't like today. You had to get your black and white 8x10s, and then there were several big casting directors. And if you got in good with them and you started working for them, they would call you in once in a while for the really good stuff, So back then, now you put yourself on tape, you send it out digitally, You never see anybody. It's not intimate. It's not personal. Back then, you really had to sell yourself because you were actually going, to meet these people, And first, you would meet a casting director and, you sit down, do your little scene, and then you would go to the next phase. The next phase either go back to her and she's figuring out, if she likes you, what role, maybe you read from one role, but then you were being considered for something else. So anyway, I forgot the casting director. Obviously, I did a pretty good job. And then I went straight ahead to meet John Avildsen. And I was really excited because I was familiar with his work. And God, I loved it. Like, Rocky was one of my favorite movies of all time, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that movie with my friend Jason Sohn, man. Never forget it. 1976, 77. After that movie, man, we were running down the streets, man. Like, we had that tune in our head. We were so excited. We were like, I was ready to get into boxing and all that shit. I mean, that's how the movie was really powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
And it got me excited about, wanting to act, wanting to get into show business. This guy coming from nowhere, writing his own script, his own story, and then, fighting to get the part in the movie because they weren't considering him.
Right.
But anyway, John Avildsen gave him a shot because it was a John Avildsen film. So, like, I had known the whole history about, like, Rocky, and I was so excited to meet John. And it was just me and John, man. I just went in there, and the character's name was Johnny that I read for, his next-door neighbor. It wasn't Freddy. It was Johnny. So this is one of the things in the trivia that people got to get this right. I told John Avildsen, and I kind of dated myself. I mean, I kind of, like, stereotyped my own self.
Uh-huh.
I said, kind of Johnny's not kind of like, my name. He goes, well, because he liked me, right? I did a really good reading with him, right? It was that scene when we first meet.
Where you got
and he said,
what name was
it? Like the scene. There were very few scenes. There were actually more scenes in the middle of the movie that they cut out for time. It wasn't because it was just not good. It was just time, right? When you can shoot so many scenes, and then I think they chose the best scenes, and it was perfect. That movie, there was no flaws. It was perfect. And I didn't care that I was in it throughout the whole movie, right? And then there was a fight getting my name in the beginning because I had worked already. I had starred in movies. I had starred in more movies at that time than most of the cast except for Ralph. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my agent, I remember her fighting to get my name up in the front credits, But anyway, I was happy to do it, right? I was like, I let that go. But anyway, while we were reading, I told John, he said, what name would you like? I said, okay, Freddy Fernandez. Boom. Gave myself my own name.
Wow.
And you know what's funny? John Avildsen was cool like that because when we started shooting the movie and I was at Wardrobe, I wanted to wear that Making Bacon shirt. I chose that Making Bacon shirt. You know why? Because I grew up in the hood and I grew up in the streets, and I remember all those patches and the shirts and the keep on trucking and beep beep your ass, all these stickers, all these all these sayings at the time. And in my neighborhood, Making Bacon was funny, So I said, can I wear the Making Bacon shirt? And you know what's funny, man?
Huh.
There are so many people selling that damn shirt, and then I've got a dime for that, right?
Oh, no.
So that's why I got my own line right now. I got my own Freddy's Making Bacon T-shirt, man, website, and I started selling them. I got the rights to the people who originally did it, the licensing rights, and I printed up a whole bunch of them, and I made a website called Freddy'sMakingBacon.com.
I'll put it in the show notes, too. That way they could just click on the link and it'll take you there.
Oh, awesome. Right on. So, and I did that because, I saw the opportunity when I started doing these signing shows with Ralph. I did one last year. They invited me to do a show, so I got to see Ralph again and Billy and people were coming in with my shirt, the Making Bacon shirt. And they were saying, how come you're not selling the Making Bacon shirt? Where's the Making Bacon? And they were coming in because they were happy that Freddy was there, because they do signings.
Yeah.
And they never saw Freddy Fernandez. People were ecstatic, man. They were so happy to see me. They were like, "Yo, there's Freddy." It was cool. I had a great time hanging out with the guys and everything. And you know what's funny? It was a Friday, and that same day, John Avildsen passed away.
Oh,
So I don't
wow.
know. It was last year. I think it was a year and a half ago or something. Yeah, the same day.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So after you got the role and you chose the name of Freddy, what was rehearsal like? Because I know that when Billy and Ralph came here to Portland, they did a panel and they talked about how John Avildsen, he filmed the entire movie
Yes,
as a
yes. So check
rehearsal.
this out.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off,
No
but I
worries. Yeah.
know a lot about that.
Okay.
So a guy named Sabasawa, right? He's a Japanese guy that was John Avildsen's assistant, right? And me and Ron Sabasawa are still friends right now, right?
Okay.
We still hang out. We still talk. Every time I go to LA, I see him. He shot on a big VHS camera, professional camera, but it was a VHS. And he recorded the whole rehearsal the same way he shot the movie. So he was already doing the same angles and the setups like he shot the movie. So when he got to shoot the movie, he was already prepared with all the angles and the setup. He was brilliant like that, John Avildsen. So when we shot the rehearsals, he blocked it and set up the angles. I mean, not as sophisticated as when he had the whole crew and everything, right?
Right.
But we had an intensive rehearsals, just like when we were shooting the movie. Not with the wardrobe or anything, but just going to rehearsals, and we go to the locations and shoot it. And he captured that, and then he edited the rehearsal, and he had his guideline, man. He had his skeleton for it to shoot the whole thing, and that saves a lot of time, man. As an editor, if you shoot it's like storyboarding, right?
Right.
Only you're doing it with the actors, and you're actually rehearsing the scenes, getting the camaraderie together, the timing and everything. So the actors are not the only ones that are getting prepared. It's the director, man, with his vision. And actually, John Avildsen posted it up on YouTube. Have you seen it?
I have. We have a Cobra Kai group page for our podcast, and we shared it in the group.
Right on. And actually, the pictures of Freddy and Ralph.
Yeah.
And on the YouTube, when you go to the YouTube link, and it's me and Ralph. And so that was kind of exciting.
Let's talk about your character, of Freddy. You mentioned some deleted scenes, and again, growing up with this movie, I felt there was always something missing from Freddy because we last see him at the beach, and then the next time we see him, he's at the tournament, cheering on Daniel. So what were some of those scenes in between the movie?
There were more scenes that we shot on the beach, right, with Freddy's gang, right? It was Frankie Jr., Avalon Jr., it was Joey Lawrence. No, not Joey Lawrence. Frankie Avalon Jr., it was Joey Travolta. It was, God, I forgot the guy's names right now. I can't think.
Oh, it's been a long
time.
But
we shot scenes on the beach during the day that were cut out. We were actually smoking weed, and we were just improvising, right? He was looking over at the girls and, just hanging out, talking about. I don't remember what we talked about, but we shot a lot of us smoking weed. And I think during the end, what Sabasawa told me was that, the movie seemed really solid without any weed or anything like that. It was unnecessary to show that.
Right.
And so not to make it a G movie, but, make it a good, wholesome movie with strong characters and a really great message. The message was about believing in yourself, overcoming all odds, listening to a mentor, a teacher, like a father figure. It was all those good philosophical teachings. It's about this kid learning, coming of age, believing in himself, learning how to believe in himself, learning how to take care of himself. And I think that was the key to the movie. Not that, not only was it a teenage movie at the time, but man, they never showed any ass in that movie. They didn't need to. We didn't need to cuss in the movie. It was a good, wholesome, well done, balanced, philosophical movie of the ages, man. It was a powerful movie.
Yeah, it really was.
So while we were watching it, when we left the movie, we had seen it in the it was in by UCLA, Westwood. God, I'm living here in. Well, we were in an area, nice area in LA when we saw the screening, and when we left that theater, we didn't even care about what happened to that scene, or why did they cut that out. I remember me, Frank, and our group, and Billy, and all of us talking about how well the movie was done, and nobody even mentioned anything about, hey, my scene was cut, or blah, blah, blah. Afterward, it kind of hit you, you're coming home, but you're so excited about the movie, knowing that, God, if the premiere was that good, it's going to be a hell of a movie, man. People are going to dig this. And look, I'm talking about it 35 years from now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's almost like being part of like Casablanca or, and I don't mean that to be funny. I'm serious about it. That movie lives on.
No, it's funny you mentioned that movie because Martin Kove, he also references Casablanca, as being like a perfect movie, and puts the Karate Kid up there too.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, this is crazy because in 1984, and this has hit me, thinking about it. I would just, lay down and, before I go to sleep. And sometimes it hits me. It's like, after seeing it, like in a marathon, right? Like on TV, on TNT, they play it everywhere, all the time, every day, somewhere in the world. Somebody's watching it. And I would lay down and think about, wow, how cool it was to be in that movie. And because they reference it everywhere in every movie. Like, I mean, even The Social Network, right? The two brothers that were fighting against Zuckerberg mentioned, wax on, wax. I forgot what he mentioned in the movie, but it's crazy. People mention it in movies all the time, television shows. They always have a learning reference to Karate Kid. Well, it's wax on, whether it's wax on, wax off, or any of the many sayings that were in the movie that sticks in everybody's head. Now, this is funny. I was hired to go to Brazil and edit a TV show, a sitcom TV show. Okay, a very big production with a couple of stars from Brazil, and one of them happens to be Leonardo. Leonardo was in that Brazilian movie that won the Oscar. Oh my God, what's the name of it?
You talking about DiCaprio?
No. No, this is a Brazilian kid, a black kid, man, from the favela, very poor kid that did this movie, and then he became a star in Brazil, right? But he was a very poor kid. And then he was the star of this new show that I was going to edit and teach the editors out there how to edit a sitcom, right? So I was hired for 2 months to go to Brazil, and when I went on the show, these two Harvard graduates, Scott Wood and David Morales, they produced the show. They went out there after the dictatorship went down in 1996 with law degrees and to do business over there. They decided to produce movies in Brazil. So one of the writers from the show, one of the writers from a famous show here in the States back in the 90s, I used to do work for him and for Orlando Jones, and they recommended me to go out there to teach these guys how to edit a sitcom, right? The timing of it, a 5-camera sitcom. So when I went over there, I'm editing, I'm getting to know the crew and the cast and everything, and this kid, Leonardo, he said, "Hey, man, I heard you were in the Karate Kid." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You were Freddy?" And he freaked out, dude, like in broken English, and, like he freaked out. So anyway, they had a surprise for me. They were rehearsing the show. They were ready to tape the show. And they told me to go on stage with the cast and crew, and they were doing a dress rehearsal. And the end scene, the two brothers in the show, Leonardo, this kid, and the other star, they're fighting. And they start doing the crane, and they reference everything in the Karate Kid, man. They wrote that into the show because I was there.
That's awesome.
So I'm here in Brazil, man, doing a sitcom called Mano a Mano in 2004, I believe I was there, or 2002 in Rio. And these guys are making reference to the Karate Kid again, man. Like south from New York City, about 4,000 miles away, man. And I was freaking out. And that was just, it's so nice, to get noticed. And I wasn't even acting then. I was already out of acting 5 years. But,
Right.
it's just nice that movie keeps me in the loop,
Have you watched Cobra Kai at all?
I watched the first 2 episodes. I did not get the YouTube Red channel yet. So, sorry, I got Netflix, Hulu, and every other damn thing, right? And I'm like, okay, I'll eventually see the whole thing. I heard it's great. That first 2 episodes got me hooked. I just haven't gotten around to it. And, I keep talking to, Ralph. We keep emailing each other. He goes, look, if the first season is great, hopefully we'll get you in the second season, man. I'd love to get on there, man,
Oh, well, I definitely don't want to spoil anything, but you might see a familiar scene in one of the later episodes. So I would definitely recommend you go catch up.
Yeah, well, they haven't shot the second season yet, right?
No, but for season 1, there's a scene that you may recognize from the first movie.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that. I know they used
Oh,
some of the images from
okay.
then because I got paid. I got a nice check.
Okay,
So,
so you know about that. Okay, all right.
yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, I already signed a release for it with my agent. I still have an agent. I got a new agent now. Not for acting. I don't go out to audition for anything, but I got this new agent that says, "Hey, man, let's do something." And I said, hold off because I'm trying to do these other things. If they call me for the Karate Kid, great, man, let's do it. I gave Ralph a lot of ideas of how Freddy should be now. I know he's a car dealership guy. Maybe I gave him suggestions like, hey, man, Freddy could be down and out. Give him a chance to sell a car, and he sucks. He's just bad at it.
I like that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I was pushing it, and I was talking to them, and I'm just letting it go. And I know that Will Smith is producing it.
Right. Yeah.
And I know Will, man. Will likes me, man. He's a big Karate Kid fan because he made it known when I guest starred on the show, man.
Oh,
we
really?
hung out, man.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we hung out that whole week, man. Hey, a lot of people say I'm like Kevin Bacon, man. I'm 6 degrees of separation, man.
Yeah, it
Seriously.
sounds like it.
I'm connected one way to somebody. I swear to God, man. And this is just me. I'm not no big star or anything like that, but I know a lot of people, man. I know a lot of people, some really good people.
I mean, you were definitely in a lot of big movies too. Even if the role wasn't huge, I mean, you were still in some pretty iconic movies.
Oh, listen, in 1984, after I shot the Karate Kid in 83, the end of 83, and it came out, I met Marty Brest for a small role in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep, that's what I'm referring to.
And Marty Brest was, oh yeah, no, man, that stuck the bananas in their tailpipes, one of the most iconic scenes of all in the history. So listen, no party's too small, man. I tell that to people all the time,
Yeah.
And if I would have kept working, I think I would have done okay, And listen, I started writing, so I have like 5 screenplays. And so I'm trying to get this company going so that I can produce my movies. And I have some good people behind me. My best friend is Luis Guzman. Actually, he's, and I don't want to say too much about the Strachey thing, but he's involved in it big time.
Okay.
Do you know Luis Guzman?
Oh, very familiar with his work. Yeah. Great comedian and actor.
Oh, yeah. He's coming here Thursday where he's going to shoot something for me for the Strachey. He's doing a do-it-yourself tutorial for my Strachey, so that when people buy my Strachey, they can go ahead and buy labeled paper from Avery stickers at Staples or, Home Depot. I mean, not Home Depot, Office Depot. You know the Avery company, right? They make the stickers that fit my Strachey frame perfectly. So he's going to do the tutorial on how to make your own Strachey stickers.
I like it. So let's transition into that. What can you speak about this product, Strachey?
Oh, well, no. I can speak all about my product. My product. I sent you a video. Did you see it? A Vimeo?
I saw it. I saw a lot of Brooklyn Nets stuff too. Is that your team?
No. The Brooklyn Nets is the Brooklyn Nets. No, I just No, I didn't sell my Strawgy to Brooklyn
Oh,
Nets.
no.
What it is,
I'm wondering if that's one of your favorite teams, because I think I saw like two or three
no,
pictures.
I'm no. The Nets play at the Barclays Center,
Okay.
right? It's the arena here that the New York, the Brooklyn Nets play at.
Right.
And so, an associate of mine who has a big connection at the Barclays Center, he's going to take them samples
Oh,
to
nice.
show to the PR people and the marketing people at the Barclays Center. My Strawgies are also at the Madison Square Garden Company arena, and their marketing department is looking at it too, so that people can buy it. It comes with a reusable, recyclable straw, right? So that they could promote, recyclable straws, and they could also put any advertisement, a player on there, and people could take it home. Buy it for $1 and take it home. And so it takes care of like the disposable straw problem. It also advertises. It's an advertising product, and also people can use it as a collectible. Take it home as a collectible, and it's also great for birthdays, holidays, weddings. But I wanted you to see it. See the video. I sent you a link to the video, and you have to put in the password.
No,
Strawgy.
I watched it.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah,
you watched it. Okay, yeah. It's just a simple clip with a frame, and I call that frame a beverage billboard.
Okay, yeah.
And so you could put anything you want. You could order it from the Strawgy Clip, www.strawgyclip.com website. That's going to be out in about another month. And so the people who buy the Strawgy Clips are able to go onto my website, and they can order as many as they want, either for advertising, business to business, or they can buy a 5-pack, a 10-pack, and use it for birthday parties, Thanksgiving, Christmas, to decorate the table. And it also works as an identifier, right? So everybody can know. You can write you can put your little initial on it so that everybody knows whose drink it is, so you get mixed up,
Yeah.
So it's a little simple, idea that I hope everybody will have them in their homes in 5 years, 10 years.
I love the idea, and the video that you showed me. I love how it comes in different materials as well, metal and the recyclable stuff. And I just like how like you said, that billboard thing. Like I can totally see myself ordering some of this, put our little podcast logo on it, and give it to senders, or not senders but listeners, as like giveaways or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can put your website, your hashtag on there. But what's cool about it, and you mentioned it fits any straw, any size. So it'll fit up from a 3.9 millimeter straw. It'll clip onto an 8.0 millimeter straw. So and it doesn't matter. The Strawgy doesn't discriminate. It'll fit any type of straw, whether it's paper straw, metal straw, plastic reusable straw, a glass straw, a bamboo straw, anything you want. You can buy the clip with our straw, which is recyclable and it's dishwasher safe. Or you can just, when you're done using those, you can buy any size straw, anything you want, and it'll work with it. And it'll fit on any glass or cup. It has 2 clips on there. One that fastens to a thin rim cup and a thicker rim cup, glass. But anyway, the Strawgy Clip, I came up with the idea 9 years ago, and with the technology you have these days, I was able to, since I did 3D design, I was able to buy a 3D printer and print out a prototype. As opposed to, 9 years ago, you would have to get somebody to make it, physically, so you could see it tangibly, test it out. It would have cost me, $20,000, $30,000 to get all that done. And now I just did it all myself,
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
I was able to save a lot of money on the prototyping and everything. And so, I needed some backers, and I showed Frank's dad, Frankie Avalon Sr., and he loved it. The first time he saw it, the next day, he sent me a check to start the patent. He says, you got to get that patented.
Oh, nice.
And then Frankie wanted to jump on board, so Frankie has a percentage in the company. And he's been my partner for 4 years, and this all came out of the Karate Kid, man. 35 years later, we're still best of friends, man, and he's my partner in this charade. Then I showed Louis it. Louis loved it and said, look, I'm going to give you some money. He gave me some money, and another investor, but, I don't know if I want you to name the investors. I'm just telling you, but,
Sure.
Hector Elizondo, he's like my dad.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Hector Elizondo from Pretty Woman and
Yeah. Very familiar with his
The
work.
Last Man Standing, and they all helped me out, man. They all gave me a check, man. And so now I'm starting to groove. I went to China, got the mold made, got the product made, shipped it over here, and now we're talking to distributors for Walmart, arenas. We're talking to the celebrity guy now with their connections and my connections. Hopefully, Straw G will be in every household in the next 10 years, at least once.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I think we could end it right there unless there's anything else you want to plug.
No, Freddy'sMakingBacon.com, www.Freddy'sMakingBacon.com. Come down, buy my T-shirt, man. Come on there. I want everybody to buy the Making Bacon. Don't buy it from somebody else. Buy it from AKA Freddy Fernandez, Israel Juarbe.
And that concludes my interview with Mr. Israel Juarbe. I want to thank him again for giving us the opportunity to speak with him about his career in filming Karate Kid. So if you guys want more information about Stragy and also Freddy's Making Bacon t-shirts, check out the show notes. And if you're a newer listener and enjoyed this episode, please consider go back and checking out Martin Cove's episode, Sean Kanan, and also William Christopher Ford, who are all part of the Karate Kid universe. And we also interviewed a number of cast members from the Cobra Kai series as well. And if you want to follow us on social media, we have a couple of mediums where you can do that. We have an amazing group page with a bunch of hardcore fans on Facebook where you can search www.Cobra Kai.TVAMB group and you spell out the words period. On Twitter, we can be found at Cobra Kai Pod and on Instagram at Cobra Kai Podcast. So I'd like to thank you guys again for checking out this episode. And if you have supported us for some time, please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. That would really help out the show. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.